Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors! On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we will be taking a look at the latest vintage collection vehicle offering, Boba Fett Starship from the Book of Boba Fett. If you're new to the channel or a fan of Star Wars collecting, be sure to smash a like on this video, remember to subscribe, and make sure to ring that bell to stay notified. Welcome back everyone. As you can see, I have a brand new vintage collection offering, and it is the Slave One from the Book of Boba Fett. We typically haven't been getting things in the States as early as, say people in the UK or other places. And I find it pretty funny and ironic that the one thing we seem to get early is this reissue of the Slave One, which collectors have seen multiple times throughout the years, and we just recently saw this Empire Strikes Back version released not too long ago. And unfortunately, this one is a bit of a higher price point, $200 versus the original $150, if you will. I don't know how I feel about that. It's pretty frustrating, and we are getting a new figure in here. We're getting Nomad Boba with soft goods, but is that figure really worth an additional $50? I know this thing is supposed to have some more weathering on it and stuff like that, but I think that's just a little bit high when it comes to a price point. But regardless, I am happy to have it in my collection, and I'm eager to see if the ship has all the detail that they're promising, and I'm just more excited to finally have a brand new figure. So let's take a closer look at the packaging, vehicle, and figure inside. Taking a look at the box, we have our classic vintage style packaging. We have the Star Wars and Book of Boba Fett logo over here in the top corner, as well as Boba Fett Starship labeled just below that. A very nice image of the Slave One in Jabba's palace when Fennec and Boba steal it back. Additionally, we have a nice image of the figure that's included here with the nice little circle that tells us that that figure is included inside. Additionally, we have a Kenner logo in the bottom right corner, which looks fantastic. And over in the left hand corner, you have an image of the vehicle, flight stand, figure, and accessories that are included inside this box. Something to note is that you're not getting any sort of carbonite block with this release, which is a bit of a shame, especially because, we're paying a little bit more for this vehicle. So something that could have been awesome to include would have been like maybe a Gamorrean guard in here as well. They try to stop Boba when he steals back the ship, so any kind of random Gamorrean guard would have been a nice addition and really helped, sell the price on this vehicle. On the side of the box, you'll find some wonderful detailed imagery of the Slave One's engines, flight stand, and rocket firing cannons. Additionally, on the reverse side, there is another image of the stand and the interior of the ship. The shorter sides of the box have the Book of Boba Fett logo and an image of the Slave One, but one of them is a recreation of Boba stealing back the ship during the series. Additionally, the dimensions of the packaging measure 20 inches long by 11 inches tall with a depth of roughly 8 inches. So all in all, like I said, this is some fantastic vintage style packaging, and it's absolutely worthy of display in your collection. But with that being said, let's open it up, take a look at the figure and vehicle inside. Inside the wax paper packaging, you have this tiny little blaster pistol that can be put in his holster, so be sure not to lose that. Additionally, you have this cycler rifle, which looks fantastic and has some really nice details. The gold little accents here just really pop, and it just overall looks like a very nice weapon. It's made of a bit of a bendy plastic, nothing too crazy. The stock is definitely harder than the rest of the barrel. You also have this bendable plastic little sling, rifle sling, that he can put it over his shoulder and carry it. So a really nice accessory as well. And lastly, we have his gaffy stick, which looks really nice as well. It's got the same like gold metallic look to it, which looks really nice. It's got some, if you could just focus here, it's got some really nice detail on the handle as well. Just some nice texture there, and you can see that similar texture down below. What's really nice about this accessory is it has this little rope as a sling instead, which you can kind of like move up and down the pole itself, so it's kind of like adjustable, and therefore you can, it's easier to put on Boba and just like tighten up, so it just like, stays on him very nicely. So a really cool accessory. This is also much better than the gaffy sticks we see with our regular Tuskens, so really into that, and excited to see more accessories for future Tuskens from this series, so really nice stuff. Taking a look at Boba out of the packaging, I gotta say that this figure is great. The soft goods are absolutely fantastic, and they're made of a really nice material that feels extremely soft and just, yeah, they're great. Additionally, they are the proper dark brown, almost black color that you're supposed to see in the series. So, really nice stuff. You can see a comparison when it's up against the black plastic of his pants. So, they look really good. You can see some really nice detailing there on his ammo belt, and just overall, this figure looks fantastic. I will take the robe off later and just, see what's going on under there in terms of articulation and what kind of sculpting. But all in all, this is a fantastic looking figure, and I'm very excited to have this one in the collection. Taking a look at the face sculpt, you can see some scarring and just like battle damage on his face. I think it looks pretty good. He probably could have used a little bit more scarring and just like a different discoloration, but all in all, I think this looks very accurate to what we saw on the show when he finally rescued Fennec, so pretty good stuff. Very happy to have this. It's safe to say that Vintage Collection fans have been anxiously waiting for this representation of Boba Fett to be added to our collections. His shocking appearance during the end of the Mandalorian Krayt Dragon episode was simply wonderful. Additionally, seeing Boba brutally handle a squad of Imperial stormtroopers and win back his armor on Tython sealed my obsession and desire for this nomadic look. The soft goods included with the figure drape well and really capture the mood of those episodes. The figure sports all the modern articulation we are becoming more and more familiar with in the Vintage Collection. New style barbell hips, rocker ankles, hinges at the wrist, and ball jointed everything will allow for a plethora of dynamic poses as seen on Tython. The figure sports the same legs we have seen on Ahsoka Tano Corvus and Morak Boba, but is now all new from the waist up. The midsection and belt are wonderfully sculpted, and the gloves have some nice brown, blue, and silver detailing on them as well. This is such a fantastic addition to the Vintage Collection, and Hasbro has really delivered when it comes to this figure. Moving on, we have Boba Fett Starship, the Slave One, out of the package and fully assembled, and I gotta say that I absolutely love how this thing looks. The weathering actually looks fantastic in my opinion, and I think there's some nice upgrades to the color of the ship. First notably, you can see that this color right here is just a bit more of a richer, like vintage teal, and that absolutely appeals to me. It just looks really nice. Additionally, you can see some nice weathering on the side of the ship here. Just a nice muddy brown, like rusty color that I think really makes this thing come to life. Additionally, you can see a lot more of that rusting over here on the wings, and I gotta say that it definitely brings this ship to Vintage Collection standards with all this nice paint applications, and I'm gonna do a side-by-side comparison with the Empire Strikes Back version in just a moment, but I just have to say that I am actually very impressed with the job Hasbro did on applying paint to this vehicle. But is that worth it for the paint applications we're getting on the ship? Still very hard to say. I really do think, a Gamorrean guard should have been included, or some other type of accessory that really would make this Vintage Collection offering very unique. I just don't think the Nomad Boba being included is just enough to, warrant a price with the addition of these paint applications. But don't get me wrong, I am very happy to have this. I just think, there could have been a little something more to really wow Vintage Collection collectors and make us appreciate this type of offering. As you can see, the interior of the ship still lacks any additional weathering, and the same can be seen on the interior where the carbonite blocks are stored. Additionally, the cockpit area still has no weathering or any paint detail on the control panels. The majority of the weathering and detail has been added to all exterior areas of the ship, and in my opinion, the updated greens, extensive rust, and dirt have really allowed this vehicle to take on a new look. Here you can see on the left is a seismic charge included with this release, which does not sport any different paint deco, and additionally the container escape pod appears to be exactly the same and also has no updated paint applications. Taking a look at the two side by side, the new release from the Book of Boba Fett on the left really does stand out much more than the Empire Strikes Back version from 2020. The dirt and residue really helps the overall look of the Slave One, and the vintage teal colors that have been updated look incredible. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, there are some noticeable differences to the weathering on the wings and updated teal on the engines. I really like these new updates, and while the Empire version had some nice weathering to begin with, these new details just continue to add to the high level of quality that this ship exhibits. The updated paint on the front and back of the wings on the newer release really does help set the two apart, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. All in all, I'm rather pleased with this vehicle repaint. It's a surprisingly wonderful release, and the new figure included is phenomenal. But I still don't think an additional $50 is warranted. But please let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a closer look at Boba Fett's Starship from the Book of Boba Fett, an excellent new release from the Vintage Collection. And don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.